Good morning, everyone. My name is Crystal. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It is a Tuesday morning. If you like my videos, please press the like button. Please do subscribe. The sun is outside here in Rochester. It looks like it's going to be a lovely warm day. The temperature in my flat, what is it at the moment? 22.5 degrees, so it's gone down a couple of degrees. It was about 23, 24. So, another day, and just see what happens. Take things as they come. Alexa, good morning. Alexa, good morning.
Good morning, and happy birthday to Priyanka Chopra, the actress, producer, musician, and philanthropist, who was born on this day in 1982. She wanted to be an aeronautical engineer when growing up, but ended up flying high in a different way.
Alexa, what's the time, please?
It's 8:21 a.m.
Alexa, what's the date today?
Today is Tuesday the 18th of July.
Alexa, what's the weather like?
Currently, in Rochester it's 13 degrees Celsius with mostly cloudy skies. You can expect more of the same today, with a high of 23 degrees and a low of 13 degrees.
And Alexa, can you tell me a joke? Alexa, can you tell me a joke?
Why can't ants get ill? Because they have such powerful antibodies.
Right, guys, so like I said, it's Tuesday. Last night I managed to take Max out for a walk and I was feeling a bit lightheaded. Weed doesn't agree with me at all. It makes me laugh and it makes me giggly, and then I start to feel dizzy and faint and my eyes start watering. So I'd walked through some weed going down to see if I had any post yesterday afternoon, and I walked the dog later on in the evening and I had this massive headache, because that's what weed does to me. I can't help it. I mean, other people, what they do is up to them. That's none of my business. I'm just saying that the effects of weed on me make me feel sick. So I went out last night and I struggled to keep walking without feeling, like I was going to fall over. And I'm not a doddery old woman, I'm 54. But when I inhale weed, it makes me feel dizzy, sick, and I get a headache. And Max has to go for a walk. I can't keep him indoors all the time. And this has all started again after that Instagram trouble I had, saying, oh, I like your videos, I find them funny. And someone tried to friend me yesterday evening, and I'm not accepting friend requests of people that I don't know, right? Because it starts off like, hello, how are you? Good morning, you're beautiful, you're lovely. And then I go outside and it's like nasty out there. I can't explain it, it just feels nasty. After I get these messages, I've already said I think someone's spying through my messages. That's not paranoia either, that people do get their phones hacked into, and people do get spyware attached to their mobiles, so everything you're saying to your friends, to your family, is being spied on somewhere else. And that's how I believe they know where I'm going. So if I don't talk to anyone on my phone, then they get stuck. They don't know what to do. So as I said, right, my neighbour's moved out. She wasn't the one that was making the noise, by the way. That lady next door wasn't the one that was making the noise. So she's moved out, and we're waiting for someone else to move in. Because I just want to get used to it, you know. When you get a new neighbour, you just want to get used to their habits. So if you get used to it, do you know what I mean? So I'm just waiting for a new neighbour so I can get used to it and just get on with my life. Everybody worries when someone moves out next door to them, above them, whatever, because you do wonder what it's going to be like. And it is a stress and it is a worry. I think that's a given for anyone that has someone move out next door to them, whatever. Yeah, I went out last night. I managed to get back by a massive headache. I sat down and I put the TV on. I just sat and watched the television, and there was a real life case, or I think it was Channel 4, about a woman that had conspired with somebody else to have her ex-husband murdered. And they'd recorded the conversation that this woman had with another man to try and get rid of her ex-husband, and she was trying to get away with it, making out she was innocent, making out she had a bad back, and she didn't have a bad back at all. That was put on just for sympathy, and she tried to do it in the past as well, and the guy had gone to prison for attempting to kill her husband, but she hadn't, because there was no evidence against her. So now the police don't believe her. The last part of it, the next part of it is tonight, and I want to watch it. Yeah. This man said the police asked him, where did you meet this woman? He said, on a dating site. He said, and first of all, we hit it off, got off together. He said they slept together on the third night of meeting her, and she was just using him. She wanted someone to kill her ex-husband, because she'd done it before, years ago, and they hadn't succeeded in killing her ex-husband. So years later, she meets someone off a dating site, pretends that she wants to go out with them, and she's a raving lunatic. She just wanted a bloke to kill her ex-husband. So they interviews the ex-husband, and he says, yeah, she's called me a paedophile, she's done this and done that. And they started investigating further, you see, when they interviewed the actual ex-husband, and they found out that she'd done it before, that this guy wasn't a paedophile, she was just spreading rumours, she was malicious. They said, if you think your husband's a paedophile, then why didn't you do anything about it? Why has he got your daughter? Why have you left your daughter with him if you think your husband's a paedophile? And she couldn't answer it. She couldn't answer it. And they was interviewing her, and she's like feigning a bad back, like she's ill to get sympathy and all that shit. But I couldn't believe it. And this isn't fantasy or anything, this is real life. This woman went on a dating site specifically to get a bloke to kill her ex-husband. So I was watching that, then I turned it over to watch a bit of emergency A&E. And then I was just, you know, dating sites. Oh my God, it scares you. Right, Alexa, LBC Radio. Alexa, LBC Radio.
LBC London from Global Player.
The economic reality has to come first. And we saw, didn't we, last autumn, what happens when people's political ideology and political views override the economic reality of the situation. You end up with Liz Truss and her mini budget crashing the economy, having a run on the pound, sending interest rates soaring when you don't respect the responsibility and fiscal situation that you're in.
The government just found money down the back of the sofa in departmental underspends to pay for an increase in pay for teachers of about the same amount. So there is money around, there is underspend happening that could mean that one of the priorities of a Labour government in power would be to end what you've described as bad policy, but you don't want to do it.
Well, we've got to be able to show where that money's coming from, and it's a different responsibility in opposition because you haven't got money behind the back of the sofa. You're not actually looking at the books of every single department. We don't have access to all of that information, and we're not doing that. But of course, government borrowing has also gone up significantly. We've had COVID crisis, we've had the war in Ukraine, the cost of living crisis, the energy crisis, and then we've had the disastrous mini budget. So government borrowing has soared, and the costs of government borrowing have soared, and that is also having an impact on inflation. So we've just been really clear that we've got to make sure that going into the next election, every single thing that we have promised, we know exactly where the money is coming from, and that's the commitment that we have made. And that means, unfortunately, that
keeping children in poverty. That's absolutely
that's not
keeping
what
children. No, he said that the two-child benefit cap is heinous, absolutely keeping children in poverty. Angela Rayner said in 2020 that it was obscene and inhumane. Are they wrong?
Well, both things can be true at the same time, which is that things can be bad policy and awful situation, but we cannot immediately afford to do something about them. And that is true of a whole range of issues, I'm afraid. After 13 years, there's a lot of things that we need to put right, and we've got action plans to do some of that. But everything will need to be fully costed, and what we're not going to do is give the Conservatives the only way out that they can see for themselves at this next general election, which is somehow blaming the problems that the economy face on a future Labour government, because a future Labour government has not fully costed everything that they are saying. They are waiting for us to make these sorts of commitments so that they can then
so this is politics. This is just politics.
They can throw it's economic reality. It's economic reality, but we're also not going to give the Conservatives what they want at the next election, which is to somehow blame us for their own economic mess that they've got the country in, and that every single one of your listeners is paying the price for, with higher food costs, higher mortgage costs, higher rent, higher energy costs, all because of this Conservative government's failure to grip the economy. So we are going to be responsible about that. We have got strong Labour values, which means we're doing lots of good things. Whether it's investing in the NHS, and we've been clear about where that money is going to come from, whether it's investing in breakfast clubs in the early years to support families that are in hardship, whether that is in areas that I've described about those skills and jobs of the future, energy superpower to make sure that everybody's bills are lower for the long term. We've got those fully costed plans, but we are going to have to take a very hard look at some things that we would like to do, but we're not able to do.
Let me just read you this finally, as listeners listening to our conversation. Kevin in Wandsworth, the current conversation is incredible. I'm absolutely politically homeless voter, but she cannot and will not commit to a single thing. And I think this is a fair, no better word trickle-down policy from Labour's leader. They could have my vote, but if they carry on like this, they never will. Do you accept that there are people who are going to be put off from voting for Labour if you can't commit to ending what Labour shadow ministers describe as heinous policy?
Well, look, I hope that people will look at everything that we are saying in the round, but it is, as a sorry to say, it is really important that everything, that the sums add up, and the economic situation that we're in is not one that we want to inherit. It's far worse than any other time any other government would inherit. Government debt so high, so little wriggle room, these real big inflationary impacts that are having the biggest impact on the poorest in society, and we have to make the sums add up. But we do have already some big fully costed plans, whether that is the green transition that will create those good jobs of the future, that will bring everybody's bills down, for example, whether that is scrapping the non-dom status so that we can invest in more doctors and nurses and bring down those waiting lists, scrapping the charitable status in private schools to make sure that every child can achieve, and we narrow those gaps in inequality in the early years, dealing with issues of child poverty that run through all of those things. So we do have a range of ambitious policies, but we are going to be facing a much more difficult economic situation than we've ever faced in our history before.
Thank you for your time. Lucy Powell, Shadow Secretary of State for Digital, Culture, Media and Sport, Labour MP for Manchester Central. Come to your thoughts on that after the 8:34 news headlines. Thomas Watts.
A barge designed to accommodate 500 asylum seekers has docked at Portland in Dorset. It's part of Home Office plans to reduce hotel costs, but has faced significant local opposition. Police tactics designed for counter-terrorism are being used to tackle violence against women in London. Met Commissioner Sir Mark Rowley will be speaking to Tom in the next hour on LBC. Industry figures show food price inflation has slowed for the fourth month in a row, but Kantar says the figure remains incredibly high, with prices up by nearly 15% in the year to the start of July. LBC weather, rain spreading northeastwards across the UK, remaining mostly dry and bright in the far south, a high of 23 degrees.
LBC. Home.
Right, guys, I was just listening to the radio and my mum's just rung the phone, my mother Jennifer, and she said that she's not feeling well today, but she doesn't want to go to the hospital and she doesn't want the doctor. And then when she put the phone down, she said, "See you later," like I do on YouTube. See you later. So my mum's not feeling well today. Right. I give up. I give up. Whenever I try and get help from somewhere, it doesn't work. Yesterday I saw a website that said that you can get advocacy support for mental health issues like depression. So I emailed them and they directed me to KCA Technologies, which is a talking therapy, and the phone hurts my face. I in fact want somebody to help me get out of my flat, help me with things that no one is listening to me with, so I get directed to KCA Technologies. And it's usually a young woman in her 20s, where you talk to them over the phone and the phone gives me a pain in the face and jaw ache. So it's all linked together. I can't get any help. I can't get any real face-to-face help. I can talk to young ladies over the phone, and that doesn't help because everybody can hear what you're saying. And on one occasion when I was talking to a counsellor over the phone, I was telling her all personal information about what makes me depressed, what makes me unhappy, and that I want to move out of my flat. And this, you see, I go to the co-op and you've got a group of 10 girls laughing outside the co-op. So if you tell somebody what you don't like and what makes you upset, it appears even more. So I'm better off helping myself. Do you see what happens? I went onto a website. It says we offer advocacy support where someone can help you through your problems and they can help with housing. And then I get directed to the Talking Therapies Counselling Service, which is no good to me. Because when I had that trouble from upstairs with all that noise, I was ringing them up and they were ringing me up. They didn't actually physically do anything to help me at all. It's all over the phone and you can't see their faces. So when you're talking to someone over the phone, you can't see if they're smirking at you, they're laughing, they're taking the piss. I want face-to-face counselling. So even online, we offer advocacy support. We offer help with housing. What's online isn't real, is it? It's not real. So you think, right, I can't stay in a situation like this. You know, I went to the doctors about the weed affecting my health. The doctor wrote me a letter to the Medway Council. I tried to log into my Kent Home Choice account yesterday, and I can't get into it. It's got. I'm afraid there's a problem, and we're trying to rectify it. We'll get back to you within a few days. So you try to physically help yourself, get off your arse and do something, and then you've got a brick wall in front of your face. You're stuck where you are with the same problems. I went to the doctor saying that the weed smoking in this block of flats is making me ill. He wrote me a letter to take to the housing. I takes a camera shot of it, sends it to Medway Council, and now I can't get into my Home Choice account. I see a mental health matters thing online, and they're telling me to use KCA Technologies, which is talking therapies over the phone, and I want to speak to someone face to face. Why are they hiding their faces? It's no good. That's no good to me. This all went on in Gloucestershire. I couldn't get a dentist. I couldn't get a doctor. I couldn't get any help. And I nearly died. It's not good enough. What the fuck is going on? They don't give a fuck. They're smoking weed in the corridors now. They're walking down the stairs smoking it. Because no one gives a fuck about me. They don't fucking care, do they? See you later.